We are excited to announce our partnership with Homefield Apparel through the Dave Campbell's podcast network of the Republic of Football. Homefield is launching North Texas apparel line on Thursday as they continue to expand their growing collection of over 150 teams in the country. Obviously, this is a huge deal for us, and we're incredibly excited to partner with them and to give y'all a discount code for the offers as y'all obviously go in there and buy everything that they have. The discount code is MGreen, which is for first time customers, 15% off, and returning customers, 10% off. Again, the discount code is MGreen. For those watching on the screen, there it is, Colin. The code works for any purchase on Homefield, even if you're not buying North Texas stuff. So MGreen, that'll help us out, help us track everything. Homefield, obviously, Colin. I mean, and for those who don't know, create incredibly
Yep.
unique apparel, clothes, shirts for college football. I mean, as it's about to return.
Yeah, I mean, they it's not just the generic stuff too. You see, I mean, they go into the history of the school. They got the whole thing. It's high quality. I'm super excited. I know Bruni's super excited. I mean, I'm gonna cop some stuff myself. So, I mean, hopefully you guys enjoy this stuff as much as we do.
Yeah, they recently put out a tweet announcing it for Thursday at 9 a.m. releasing it. Obviously, everybody will go on there, so we will be posting on our Twitter page and all that stuff. But as you can see, 15% off. That is a big deal. So if you get a $100 purchase, 80 down to $85. If you're interested, visit Homefield website at homefieldapparel.com. It's super easy to use, and you can access their wide-ranging selection of teams. Shop at Homefield and use our discount code MGreen and check out to get your discount. Perfect for Father's Day coming up, birthdays, graduations, all of that good stuff. And we will obviously continue to update y'all as we continue to go through this with Homefield Apparel. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell. Colin, today we are joined by the new head coach of North Texas Mean Green Basketball, Ross Hodge. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's always a great day when we get to hop on and talk to you guys, man.
Oh, yes. Yes, that is, I know every coach's dream. Get on here.
Right.
Yeah, you texted me after we had Jason and
Bugs.
Bugs, the two we had on. Like, oh, we gotta do it. I was like, yeah, let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Plenty to talk about. I don't even know where to start, but let's start with last year.
Okay.
Obviously, that's the easy place to start because a fun year through the ups and a couple downs, but you make the run through the NIT after losing in the conference tournament. How would you describe what last year was for y'all as a team?
Man, like most of those years, man, it's such a learning experience. And I always talk about with our guys, even like the seasons are almost like spiritual journeys in a weird way, and like you said, the highs and the lows and kind of everything in between. But anytime you can finish a season winning the last game and cutting down nets, it's an incredible season. So, yeah, man, it was just look back on that group coming together and sacrifices that those guys made and stayed together, stayed the course. Yeah, it was a special year, man.
Real quick before I let Colin, I know I've talked a lot, Colin, but after the Rice lost specifically, y'all go on the run after that where y'all won like 8 straight.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like after the Rice game with obviously the veterans you had on your team, you, Coach Mack, y'all know everything. Y'all been through the wars.
Yeah.
After the Rice loss, coming together and being able to go on that run, how did that happen?
Well, leading up to the Rice game, and you got to give, there's excuses and there's reasons, and there it's a fine line on that, and not to Rice was great that night. I didn't think, they made really good adjustments to how we had played them in the past. And, you know, in the past we had kind of just decided, hey man, we're going to try to take, you know, Fiedler's assist out of the game. You know, we just go straight drop coverage and they're running it's kind of like playing the Nuggets with Jokic.
Nuggets.
You know, like, okay, like you're going to give them 42, but you're taking the assist out of the game. And they did a good job, man. They got downhill with that was the biggest dynamic, you know. Quincy Oliveri was really able to get downhill in the second half of that game. But that was also in that crazy stretch to start the league. If you guys, I don't know if you remember, we were like FAU at home, FIU at home, at Western, at Middle, come back and play La Tech at home on Wednesday. Kai beats them at the buzzer. Then we're right back on a plane playing FAU on Saturday, FIU on Monday, Rice on Thursday.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, so we didn't like overreact necessarily to the game, but I think Coach Mack did a really good job. And that Friday, because it was right back into a one-day prep. It was Friday. We played UAB on Saturday, and we just felt like we had lost a little bit of our like connectivity as a group, and kind of just highlighted some of like the things that are really important to us. Like highlighted like some of our huddles in that Rice game, some of the lack of just togetherness, which comes through a fatigue, and you're in all these games, and we had and so that was really all we talked about before the UAB game. Was like, hey man, let's get back to like tight huddles, playing through mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. Let's not go separate ways. And the guys were great about it. They owned it. We showed it to them on the video, you know, on the TV, and there was really no denying it, you know, and they didn't fight that. They embraced it. And we went out, and I know Jelly didn't play that Saturday, but we still played a very good game against a good UAB team, and kind of took off from there.
Moving it back, I guess, toward the NIT, how does having like some adversity like that earlier in the season prep a run like y'all had? Because obviously, you know, you go through the adversity of losing the conference tournament, but then you win the NIT.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's funny, man. Like I've shared those stories with a lot of people over the past couple months when we've been recruiting. We have recruits and parents and families here. And obviously when you look in here and there's like the 4 trophies and, you know, the championships, the highlight videos, the confetti, you can think that that's what it is. And that's part of it. But we do talk about like the 2020 year. We were 6-8 to start that year. We were 2-5 to start the year and had to go beat a good UTA team on the road. We were 0-1 in league after blowing a 15-point lead. The next year, you bring that team back, the COVID year, we beat Marshall, and we have to win one game to win the conference regular season championship and be the 1 seed. Well, we lose all 3 of them. Yeah. And now you leave, you don't even get a bye. And Ruben pops his hamstring. The year before, the next year, T-Bell and them, we start 1-3, lose to Buffalo at home. So within the framework of all the good at the end, there is that ability to overcome adversity and overcome the hard times. And that's where you have to give the credit ultimately to Coach Mack for building that foundation, but putting a staff in place that values that, and then putting players in the locker room that can handle setbacks and come back the next day, watch film, work, get the extra work in. And so that's and like you said, like the NIT was kind of an accumulation of all of that, man. People, it's easy to forget the adversity you overcome when it ends in a championship season. Right. But it's how you overcome the adversity which puts you in position to be champions.
Yeah. Now, obviously, man, the past few months since this season ended were a whirlwind for you. I wasn't even trying to text you. I was like, yeah, just let him be. what was that process like going, obviously, Coach Mack going to Tech, the conversations with him, and then you obviously stepping into becoming the head coach, obviously with new AD, Jared Mosley
Yep.
there. What were those two processes like for you?
It wasn't, this wasn't that you guys know, like this wasn't the first off season that Coach Mack's name had been associated with other schools. You know what I mean? So I don't want to say there was like a comfort but there was a certain level of like
understanding
that if if this was to go this way, like, and those conversations weren't necessarily like just flat out said, but you felt good about it. And then to Coach Max credit, and then like you said, Jared and President Smostrix, I mean, once it became evident that Mac was indeed going to take the Texas Tech job, they moved efficiently, which in today's time era with the portal and the recruiting and uncertainty and chaos, that breeds the chaos. And to their credit, they tried to alleviate as much uncertainty as they could, and they were able to move quickly. And I think that was a big part as why we were able to hang on to Aaron and Ruben and Stone and Mulai, who a week goes by, you don't know what could have happened, know, because obviously all those guys could have went anywhere. Just be honest, could have.
Right. How is it? What's it like? Obviously you haven't been a head coach since was it Paris Junior College and Midland Junior College?
Yep.
So what lessons do you take from those places to now? Because what was that, like 12 years ago, something like that? Last time you were head coach?
It went 146 and 24,
which is crazy. That's crazy.
So we're expecting that.
Yeah, you need to keep it up
there. We're expecting that record.
Man, yeah, no, it's I've said this in some other spaces and talking to other people. Weirdly enough, like being a junior college head coach uniquely prepares you for the time period that we're in now, because of the amount of roster turnover that you're going to endure each year. And you're comfortable, and I think that's why we've been successful here. Even okay, like you lose Ryan, and like, not that you just can keep using good players, but it's inevitable in today's in today's college sports. It's going to happen. You're going to have roster turnover. You're going to have new players, and how quickly can you assimilate them into a cohesive unit in a cohesive group? The biggest difference at this level is, and the biggest thing for me personally, is just the amount of external things that come your way that take you away from actually coaching your team. But that's why you hire a great staff, and I'm thrilled with like, Johnny Estelle, Phil Forte, Jace Hurl, Mike Randall, elevating Andre and Louis Stayen. I mean, really, really fortunate to have that group of guys in year one as being a head coach at this level. They're all really good, man. Really good.
Real quick, what was the process like of finding assistant? I mean, finding them, like how tedious, how difficult was that for you?
Yeah, man, it was the thing people got to realize, like, it's a puzzle, and you've been in this business for 20 plus years, and you have great relationships across the board, but you can really only hire 3 or 4 people, and you're trying to put it's like putting a basketball team together. You're not going to go out there and get all centers. You're not going to go out there and get all point guards. You're trying to find strengths and weaknesses and personalities. And so yeah, I knew I wasn't going to rush, but then when I felt comfortable with the who, then wanted to be very intentional about it, and if you kind of look at these guys, they all have unique ties, whether it's, being a junior college head coach, like Johnny Estelle was a junior college head coach at Navarro and Kingsville, and both had done things at those places that have never been done before, which, we love that model here, doing that, and then Phil Forte is, a legend in the state of Texas, and his name, and then Jace, was a very successful junior college head coach and is recruited at a high level as well. And Mike, just all those guys, and the thing about them all is they were really excited about being here, and they're all committed to the group, and they all want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And they're all like, just you guys have spent, you guys uniquely have had the opportunity to really peek behind the scenes. Only a few people actually get to really do that. And so you know how ego and how selfless this whole thing has been, and we've tried to follow that model with the staff that I hired.
For sure. What's, going back, obviously you were an assistant coach here for the last 6 years. What was your approach, I guess, kind of being under Mac, and then now you're a head coach?
My approach as the associate head coach was trying to, you're trying to facilitate through Mac to the rest of the staff and be a conduit and eliminate conversations that can trick, like they don't have to constantly be said over and over. You're like a conduit both ways,
Gotcha.
And that's where I give Coach Mac a lot of credit, and you guys know him as well. And he was very egoless. He was very selfless. He was comfortable with his own abilities as a basketball coach and as a man. And he wasn't threatened by allowing other people to have voices within the program, take ownership in the program. And, I've when I was a junior college coach, and I went and watched other Division I practices where literally no one says anything but the head coach, and everybody else is just like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy,
yeah. Man. And they're running every drill, and they're like, and everyone else is just, and Coach Mac helped prepare me for this in a lot of ways by allowing me to have as much input and ownership in the program. And I want to be able to do the same thing for these guys, and so that, the difference now is, again, when Coach Mac was gone, if Coach Mac was at a speaking engagement or a coach's caravan, or if he was out recruiting, well, then I just ran the practice. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, I'm going to be gone.
Yeah.
And finding the comfort of not always being there, but that's why I hired, in my opinion, one of the best staffs in the country, because I do trust those guys, and those guys know what they're doing.
What did you learn the most? Because I want to get to this year's team, but one more question here. What did you learn most over the past 6 years that obviously will help you in this position here, like from Grant or from, anything over the past 6 years?
Well, then you're trying to get me to lump in 6 years of experience.
Yeah. Yes, I am. We asked the hard questions here, Coach. 6 years, put it into one thing. I mean, just it could be.
I think the biggest thing is you have to be yourself. That was probably like the best advice that I was given as a young head coach, and it's always stuck with me through any role that I had. Is like you do have to be who you are, and players, they'll respect the fact if you're trying to be an authentic version of yourself. And like I said, as a young head coach, as a junior college, I didn't need to try to be 42, like don't apologize. Like just, this is who you are, and, be relatable and have fun with the guys. You can still hold them accountable. You can have relationships and hold people accountable. They're not mutually, exclusive from each other. And so you have to be, who you are, and people will respect it. People will appreciate it. If you start trying, I can't be Coach Mac. I can't be Coach Eustace. I can't be Coach Foy. I can't be Coach Walker. I can't be Coach Bishop. I can't be all these great coaches that I've worked for and been around. I can take little pieces of them and apply it on the basketball floor, but I can't be them,
Moving, or do you have another one, Bruni?
No, go ahead. I want to get to this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm going into. moving to this year, obviously we know the identity of last year's team was defense, very deliberate, slow team. The defense obviously is still going to be there, but are there going to be any other changes in terms of pace or offensive,
Yeah, I mean, I not to give us an excuse, again, excuses and reasons.
Yeah.
I know, because you guys talked to Coach Mack, like we actually were committed to play with more pace and force last year. And we spent a whole summer implementing and working on it. And then Ruben gets hurt. TP gets hurt right before, and not to mention the other little nagging injuries that we kind of went through that people don't even know.
And y'all got sick.
We got sick.
Yeah.
So then it's just kind of like, well, so we will have to play with more pace. Our better returning players are better with more possessions and more pace across the board. Ruben benefits from that type of game. A. Scott benefits from that type of game. Weirdly enough, Mulai may be
I was gonna say,
on our roster end to end. If you lined them up on the baseline and say go, Mulai probably wins that race. And Stone, in a weird way, is good in like the longer a game goes, and so yeah, like what I would really like to be able to do is do a better job of not a better job, but just improve on like turning our defense into offense and really taking advantage of deflections and turnovers and long bad shots that can lead to a little more easier shot on the offensive end of the floor. And then just, Jason has elite speed, Jason Edwards and Bugs is a good athlete. And, Robert, from Ole Miss just all these guys probably benefit in a game that has a little more pace, with understanding you're not going to play. You're not going to just going down firing balls all over the place.
Not UAB.
Yeah, I don't think that's probably, conducive to winning championships either for us. For us.
Yeah. You mentioned Mulai. It's interesting because we've really just had Zach to Abu, and now Mulai is a very different, as we saw in the NIT run, obviously, very different type of center. How do you approach that? Having, obviously, he's not going to be used in the same role as Zach or Abu, but he's more of a rim runner, maybe shot blocker in a couple of instances. Are you excited to kind of unlock that potential?
Yeah, because just it kind of goes right into what we were just talked about. I mean, really, there's not going to be many forwards on the other team that are as fast as him and can move at the rate that he can move. And you got to understand, I mean, he's really still coming into his own as a basketball player. Started playing the game very late. And he's just now really settling into, what you guys saw over the course of that NIT run is really kind of just the beginning of what he could be. And he probably had the best spring of anyone on our roster. Put a lot of work in, got to play a lot in a lot of open gyms around the Metroplex, and he really poured a lot in. He was, because of really just getting going in the NIT, he was also like a little fresher than the rest of the guys coming out of.
Yeah, you could tell
that season. So he really springboarded that and took advantage of it, and really excited for what he can do and what he can be.
You've already kind of touched on it in regarding to the guys you've recruited with Jason Edwards, Robert Allen, Bugs, and CJ Nolan.
Yep.
A big focus that Bruni and I have noticed, and I guess this has always been type of a thing, is, Jason Edwards especially, you guys keep going that JUCO route and getting guys that excel at this level. What's kind of been, your recruiting, I guess, goal and identity, and then what do you think those guys can add to this roster?
Specifically like with Jason, if you look at like Javion and Tyler and even Duffy before then, who like, dude, like, I don't know if you guys have been like, Duffy's killing it, man.
I follow Reem on Instagram. That's all I need.
He's in line for a nice payday next year, which is awesome. And he kind of got robbed from an injury standpoint of what you saw here, but Thomas Bell, Duffy, J-Ham, Reese, TP, Jason Edwards, the one thing they had in common is they all went to the national tournament in junior college. Yeah. They all played at Hutch. They all are coming from places that had won. And so that's a big part when you're recruiting, anybody, when we were recruiting junior college kids specifically, is, they were all in really good leagues. They all played for good coaches and they all won. And that can translate to this level, which it has. And then, Bugs, obviously, like, you guys got to spend some time talking to him. I mean, there isn't a person that has came in contact with Bugs that doesn't absolutely love him as a person.
Yeah.
The UMass fans, UTSA fans, and you can feel that energy, even competing against him, and then the ability to make, you make 83s at 42%. I mean, that's a lot of threes, man. I think he shot second best in the league, maybe behind TP and Jelly, right around there. CJ was a kid that we had known. We actually recruited here before he went to Oklahoma, and he's another one, man. Just he won in high school, wants to get back to winning. Really feel like he has a versatile skill set, like a Kai, that can take advantage of littler guards and can be a secondary ball handler at times, maybe even a primary ball handler. And then Robert Allen, I mean, started games in the SEC, and has a master's degree already. So that tells you, like, his age and experience and his maturity. I mean, he has a bachelor's and a master's degree. That's
good, because every North Texas team needs that one 7th year player here.
And then you don't want to forget about Alex Cotton, the high school kid, man. He's got I mean, saw a picture I was standing next to him the other day. I'm like, damn, this dude's big, 6'5", 6'6", can do a lot of good things on a basketball floor, versatile, got a chance to be a really good player, knows what's going on, kind of reminds you of like Aaron as a freshman. It's just like, can he physically mature as the year grows in, and maybe he can help you as a young player.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Very excited for this year's team. All right, one more before we get you out. Obviously, joining the American is what we have to ask every coach that comes on this podcast, because it is an interesting step up where you still have 5 other teams from Conference USA that, the UABs and the Rice and UTSA and so on and so forth. But then you get a Memphis, Tulane, Tulsa's going to be good with Conkle and brought them over
much there. Improved,
brought them over. So it looks like it is a step up. And even though we all know how good Conference USA was last year. I mean, you're bringing FAU and UAB with you, but are you excited to go to the American? What's your overall thoughts on the conference as a whole?
Yeah, really excited, man. We had our conference meetings last week in Colorado. I know Colin said he just got back. It was in Vail, so worst places to have your conference meetings. And but you look around, man, and there is a lot of excitement, and I think there's a lot of belief that, granted you're losing Houston and Cincinnati and Central Florida, but I think the overall sentiment from everyone is like, man, the league itself may actually even be better. If you're looking at, like you said, Tulsa's going to be better. Ron Hunter's done a tremendous job at Tulane. They're only getting better. Memphis is Memphis. Coach Mills is going to do, Wichita State and Coach Lanier in year 2 at SMU is going to be much improved. And then you carry over the Conference USA schools. So there is a lot of excitement. And then you just create like some really good natural rivalries that I know like our fan base can't wait. I mean, I can only imagine what, the first game, home game or road, you know, when you get to play SMU, or you got Memphis coming into the pit, or I mean, it's just it's an exciting time, you know, and I think it's the right time to carry over the momentum that, you know, we've created not only as a basketball program here, but as an athletic program, you know, moving forward into the American.
Yeah, the only thing I'll miss is Louisiana Tech. The Louisiana Tech game where it seems like y'all played like 3 times a year and just
Crazy.
3 times a year, and everyone was coming down to like the last possession, regardless of.
Exactly. Man, those were the battles that I'll remember for a long time. Be like, man, remember
Crazy
those North
games.
Texas La Tech games?
Yeah.
I mean, Western Kentucky as well, obviously, kind of in a similar vein, but the La Tech one for me was always
Yeah, that I think even though they beat us, that the 2020 game when it was in the pod play or whatever in the pit, and it was like the J-Ham, Daquan Bracey. No, the year before that when Carl was hurt.
Yeah.
The J-Ham, Daquan Bracey duel at the end of that game, and the shot making that was going on. Even though we were on the wrong end of it, it was still like, man, that was one of the funnest games I've been a part of.
Crazy.
Colin, I remember after that game, we went and recorded our little 2-minute thing outside the podcast, outside the Super Pit. We're just like, I don't know what we just watched. That was incredible basketball.
Crazy.
Like, we weren't even mad. We were just like,
basketball.
You know, I mean, Bracey makes a right hand running floater over Zach.
Yeah.
Kisses the top of the square and drops in. But yeah, there was definitely some battles, man.
Yeah. So those if we can get La Tech on the schedule, man, go make some calls over there just for sentiment's sake.
Yeah.
But all right, man, that's all we got. 30 minutes.
Appreciate you guys, man. Always a fun time, man. Appreciate all you guys do for North Texas, and you know, you guys do great work, man. So appreciate you guys for sure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Head Coach over here.
I personally have had to talk you guys off the panic meter ledge a few times, but hey, man, like I get it, man. Trust me, I get it.
Oh man, we'll see. Hey, y'all could be 12-0 next year. First loss, we're gonna come on here to be like, hey, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got it.
Oh man, appreciate you guys, man.
All right, appreciate it, Coach.
All right, dude.
All right, Colin. Well, let's fill in the last 10 minutes of this podcast talking about this basketball team because I'm really excited. Like I can't remember a season I've gone into, because every year we go into a season and say, all right, we have these new additions, these new JUCO players who are going to have to come in and be really good. And we have no clue if they're going to be really good or not.
Right.
Like we're coming, like, as much as we love the Javion addition, James Reese, you know, all these guys over the years, we're like, okay, still we have to see it, you know. And then it was like last year was Tyler Perry going into a starting role, you know, how are you going to replace Drez and so on and so forth. This year, it feels like we kind of know what this team is at this point. They still have 2 more roster spots. They have filled 11 of the 13. We kind of know what this team is. And I love it on paper.
I think it's very helpful that we saw Aaron Scott and Ruben almost kind of come, and Mulai to an extent, come into their own during that NIT run. I mean, Aaron Scott, he's going to be different level next year. Ruben, if they play open, is going to be insane. Obviously, Mulai is going to be that rim runner kind of guy that, you know, I've been kind of looking for, I guess, in the last couple seasons. But, you know, going back to what the guys they brought over, I mean, Jason Edwards, the thing within the past is we didn't know how good they'd be at recruiting JUCO guys. Obviously, we knew that they're successful in it, but they've hit on basically every single one of them. When you bring in a Jason Edwards guy, you're like, okay, well, I guess this is just a lock to be a good guy, like a good player. Or you go into John Buggs, who obviously also, I guess he went D2. Was it D2 route? I can't ever remember.
Was it UMass DT2 or UMass to JUCO to UTSA?
That's what it was. I mean, same type of thing, right? Like, he's a guy that instantly, you know, can do something. And I think that's on top of the returning talent. You're very confident that this coaching staff is going to be able to get guys and recruit them well and build them up.
I wanted to ask Ross about this, but we were kind of running a little lower on time. The ability to get an Ole Miss and an Oklahoma player. How many P5, how many high major players had they had in the McCaslin era? Like,
off the top of my head, I can't think of any.
Like, there's a ton that have gone up, right?
Yeah.
like there's a ton that have gone up. Obviously, Drez, Reese, Ryan, going on the list. I'm now Tyler, Abu. Like all these guys have gone up, but how many of them have we gotten from an Ole Miss or an Oklahoma? I can't remember. Like Dang came from North Dakota State. Edie came from North Dakota State, which is a good program, but high major players, I feel like we have to be forgetting somebody.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I mean,
Washington, the big from Washington.
yeah, but he didn't play.
Yeah, he didn't play, but I forget his name.
I forgot his name too.
But
yeah,
still, regardless, that's the only one I
that's
can
the
remember.
one that I can think of. I mean, unless you count like a Buffalo.
And the thing is, yeah, Buffalo. If you just look at like the 7, let's just say the 8 top players right now, and again, they still have 2 spots left, which I assume they would add somebody that could help them. Returners, Ruben, Aaron, Mulai, and Stone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty good 4. And then the 4 transfers: Bugs, Edwards, Allen, Nolan. That is an 8, a group of 8. I don't know why I held 10 up. A group of 8 that I would feel comfortable with right now.
Yeah, they just rolled them out.
Just roll them out. Like at the 4 position, they're fine because in theory you can put Robert Allen can slide to the 5 if you need to behind Mulai. I assume they would try to go get. Well, Chris Morgan is also a 5. I will have to see how he develops, but and then at the guard spot, Bugs, Edwards, Noland, and Ruben and Stone are kind of like wings guards, kind of can play either one. So I just feel really, really good about this. Like you said, there's no more question marks like with a guy like Jason Edwards, like, and he's their only JUCO addition to this point. So it's like,
right.
I feel like we know what we're getting. CJ Nolan might be the X factor though.
CJ Nolan, when you sent me that tweet when he committed, I was like, wow, the culmination of the NIT, the move to the AC is finally built a program where they can attract not just a 5th-year senior or not a guy who didn't really play. I mean, you have to realize, yeah, CJ Nolan didn't have a great season last year. He was all freshman 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that's impressive especially in a great basketball conference.
And even and also he was a top 100 player at high school. I think he was in the top 90.
He was 92, I believe.
Yeah, 4-star guy coming out of high school. And so we're only 2 years removed from that.
Yeah.
And so, and there's a long track record of guys who take a step from like the Big 12 or something like that to North Texas and them flourishing in a lot of ways because they are so talented and they're still young in their career. We're not talking about a 5th-year guy that never panned out for 5 years. He spent 2 years at Oklahoma, started 8 games last year, played in 25 or 26, whatever it was. And yeah, we'll see if he can step in and contribute. But he's kind of the X factor for me. We know what we're going to get from everybody else at this point.
Well, I think Jason Edwards is also an X factor for me.
Yeah, but I think he's just going to be cold.
You just think he's going to be amazing?
Yeah, I don't think there's a world in which he doesn't average 14 points per game.
But I think he could be legitimately great.
Okay.
On this, just because it depends on if they are able to play in the open court. Because I think hearing Jason Edwards and looking at what he's able to do well, and he even said it himself, he likes to play with speed. And if they're able to unlock that, because we've seen flashes with Ruben, they just haven't been able to use it. If he can be what we think, Ruben can be, I think this team is going to be just insane.
If you had to predict their tempo, where they rank in tempo this year, where would you rank? They ranked 363rd last year. They ranked, I think it was 362nd.
Was it second the year before? Oh, okay.
Which I think was almost dead last because they added teams to the. But anyways,
I think we see NIT, North Texas. I don't know where that would have ranked.
I don't know either.
But I would say that it's like Ross said, right? They want to be able to capitalize on what they do defensively. They want to be able to get a steal running down the court. And I think having Mulai helped a lot with that. And it's the reason why they won the NIT, in my opinion. And with Aaron kind of coming into his own and Ruben, again, kind of coming to his own after these injuries, I think that's what we can see. It's still going to be slow. It's still going to be deliberate. But you're not going to see them, just stop the ball off of turnover and play down 20 seconds.
Defensively, on paper, this team is going to be scary because you think about it. Last year, as much as obviously Tyler Perry's a great player, but he's also was 5'10", right? You replace him with Edwards or Noland and Bugs, obviously at the 2. Like your backcourt defense might be a little bit better. and then the front court you get Mulai instead of Abu, and that's probably better.
Well, here's the thing with Mulai. He doesn't have to be necessarily better on the inside. He's probably neutral. It's his ability to switch, I think, more so. Because he has the foot speed, I think, to move a little bit better. So you bring that in. And then let's not forget Robert Allen. Obviously, I haven't seen a lot of him. I know you've watched the SEC basketball before.
Yeah, he was a
but
role player
just having a bigger body, like you said, you automatically upgrade from the 5'10" Tyler to taller guards. You also upgrade in the front court a little bit too. And then you still have Aaron and Ruben.
And I will say Kai was a good defensive guard. Like don't want to take anything away from him.
Yeah.
Losing Kai hurts, obviously, but like, I mean, they had Abu and Jaden Martinez as their fives last year.
No,
like,
yeah, exactly. And listen,
just saying, you get Mulai and Robert Allen.
It could be crazy. Not only that, like you said, they have 2 more spots, and I don't know. I mean, for me personally, in those last 2 spots, I want to see a wing-ish type player. I don't, like you said, I don't know how Chris Morgan's done, but maybe I don't know.
Chris Morgan's like 6'9". He's like a forward.
Right. So like maybe a guy that's kind of more of a rim runner, athletic guy. But I want to see a wing
and a forward.
Yeah, exactly. Wing of some sort.
Sorry, wing, not forward.
Wing of some sort.
Yeah, backup center. Like, yeah, go get like a. Just go find the next James Reese. Make it easy.
Make it easy, he says. Find the next James Reese. Yeah, no, I think. I'm just gonna ask it just for fun. Way too early expectation for next season, knowing nothing about where do you like it range?
We don't even know the schedule.
But like the range of where you'd like them to finish.
The Americans gonna be really good.
It's really good.
If there's 18 conference games, because I only judge it by conference. I can't judge non-conference until we see it. Well, they will be playing in that South Carolina Charleston tournament, which will be interesting. Conference wise, it depends obviously on who they get, but I would expect something like it's gonna be hard to win more than 13 games. I'd be happy at 12-6 because that probably gets you top 3.
Be great season.
Top 4.
I think this conference is gonna kill it. Like they're just gonna it's just gonna be slaughtering each other.
Bro, FAU, UAB, Memphis, Tulane, Wichita State will be back to being good again. Like if you can go 12-6 in this conference, you are making it. You might make the damn NCAA tournament off of without even having to win the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Like if you win the non-conference games,
right?
Like if they have a good run in the Charleston tournament where they beat whoever's in that, and then they come back and go 12-6 in conference, and they only have like 8 losses on the year.
Yeah,
they're gonna have a shot. So it'll be interesting. Look at us talking basketball on June 7th. Who'd have thought?
Exciting. Hey, we've been watching a lot of college for the draft.
Yeah, we've been doing our draft stuff, so we're always in basketball mode. But last thing I want to announce, or I want to, I guess, talk about. We do have an upcoming schedule coming out where we are going to be talking to guests, talking to beat writers from teams on North Texas schedule over the coming weeks. Have that planned out, so we're really looking forward to that. And then we'll probably look at some like position preview type things as well. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. We're gonna have writers on from teams like Memphis, UTSA, SMU. Probably save the Cal one for before the season, but yeah, we're gonna try to get UAB, Tulane, all these guys that are on North Texas schedule this year. Get them on the podcast and give y'all some preview content for the summer because that's always fun. So that's what's on deck. We appreciate Ross Hodge for coming on, talking to us. Head coach Hodge. I remember the good old days, Colin. We were back in 2017 watching him yell at Zach.
Yep. I remember going to a practice one time and watching Thomas when he first got recruited. Crazy how far they've come, man. Crazy.
Incredible. All right. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out our Homefield. Again,
M Green. Easy to remember.
M Green. Homefield apparel. That's the discount code. 15% off your first order. How can you not do it?
Yeah, and if any of y'all are closet not North Texas fans, feel free to still use that code. Code.
All right. But yeah, we will be back next week with another episode. We appreciate y'all for joining us, and we will talk to y'all later.